We are back. We are the Wrestling Boys. I'm Logan.
I'm Goose.
And we are here to give our review of Raw 30.
Yeah, let's be honest. We saw the replay on Hulu, which is an hour and a half.
Yeah, so we didn't see everything
Every
they
match,
had, but
no.
we saw a lot of the what was being talked about, like the Undertaker returning as the American Badass, and DX, and
I don't know how they determined what to show for that hour and a half.
I don't know either, but
obviously a lot of the mid card matches kind of get tossed out. But it was really entertaining. It was like you open the show with Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart. You're like, yeah, and then you get you get the American Badass Undertaker, who comes in and basically disrupts LA Knight, and then we get the
Fiend.
It
wasn't the Fiend. It was Bray Wyatt.
By the way, you know that Bray Wyatt has now said that the Fiend is dead.
Really?
Yeah, he's not coming back as the Fiend. The Fiend is dead. So, but then, we'll see how long that lasts, because that was one of his most popular characters. And
I think they'll probably still keep with the dual personality type deal they had with Bray Wyatt. Maybe just not have like the whole Fiend get up, I guess.
More on that in our next segment when we talk about
Royal
Rumble. But yeah, it was super entertaining. We got to see DX come back, minus Billy Gunn.
Yeah, it was really funny what they did with that, because I think it's just because Billy Gunn, I think, has a contract with AEW at the moment. So they had DX come out, and Road Dogg was doing this whole thing. The 6-time tag team champions of the world. Road Dogg, Jesse James, and
there's Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle standing there.
And for the longest time, we were like, well, why is Kurt Angle out there? Kurt Angle's never part of DX. But regardless, it was still fun to see Kurt Angle.
It was a good little segment. And then we got to see Imperium come out and basically tell it.
So, you disrespect the ring. We hold the match sacred.
So, it's kind of funny. It's just, but, and of course DX does what DX does best, which is everything's
we got
funny.
2 words for you.
Suck it! But they made the whole thing into like a nice little comedy bit. Obviously, Hunter was like, "No, I'm retired."
Yeah, that was funny when they were like, "We're gonna set up a 6-man tag team match," but all of them were like, "I'm good. I'm retired."
Shawn Michaels, I'm too old.
Yeah.
Where was it? The Road Dogg comes up and goes, "I'm going to tell you who am I kidding?"
Yeah.
And then they huddle. They come back and they say, "Oh, Kurt will do it." And Kurt's like, "No, I won't." No, I won't. But it was like one of those things where it's like one of those impromptu. It's like the whole thing was a setup. You knew it was a setup, because it was like, who's could come out here and challenge? And all of a sudden out comes Seth Rollins, which is really cool, because Seth Rollins has not gotten his spot in his career where he can play either the face or the heel. It's like, depending on who he's facing, he's either the face or the heel. It doesn't matter, but he's the same character. He's Seth freaking Rollins. And so it was pretty cool. And then, of course, who's going to join Seth? And then out come the Street Profits, and we're like, oh, this ought to be good. But then, one of the things we've always have said is that, WWE loves to be able to put teams together that have never worked together.
And speaking of the tag team match, we also got an appearance from who is the master of making tag team matches.
Oh, Teddy Long.
Teddy Long. Oh, boy. It was like everybody saw it was coming. It's like Teddy Long comes out, boom, baby, we're getting a 6-man tag team match.
Who can put this together? Let me tell you, player.
Only thing that would have made that better, I was expecting him to do his whole, you will go 1-on-1 with the Undertaker.
With the Undertaker.
But, of course, it didn't happen.
We got the 6-tag.
It was still nice seeing.
It was good. And it was a nice little setup, because obviously Raw 30 was the setup toward
the Royal Rumble.
I mean, the night, and I think the night opened with, didn't the night open with Sami Zayn?
I think so.
Facing the bloodline. I mean, it's kind of crazy that they set this whole thing up for for a Royal Rumble where it's like Sami Zayn comes out and he's in the Inquisition and.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You were talking about they're basically having like a mock trial.
Mock trial, Sami, and
put their evidence on the Titantron.
Paul Heyman puts his evidence on the Titantron, and then they ask Sami, he's like, I got no defense. It's like, if you don't think I'm part of this, I got no defense. And Roman was like pissed off. He's like, you got no defense for this Solo. Solo's gonna give him the thumb, which and Jey Uso comes over and stops him. He just shows his evidence for the defense and keeps Sami Zayn, for now. But he's like, I don't want to see you to the Royal Rumble. And he's like, okay. Which we're all like, okay. We know exactly what's going to happen at the Royal Rumble. Someone's turning on somebody. But again, we'll talk more
on that later. That was
just
incredible.
An incredible ending to the Royal Rumble. But yeah, it was just everything just really worked when they brought Hogan back, the Undertaker, DX, all these huge stars. It made Raw, I think, huge. I think the only ones that worked there was like Steve Austin, and of course The Rock wasn't there. I don't know
why they wouldn't have Steve Austin. Unless he was busy doing something else, I guess. But and another thing is this was also very much a nostalgia show. Well, it's because it's like 30 years doing the same show. You got to have the big names. 30. And I remember they also did one a few years back when they were doing Raw 25 back in 2018. And the difference between the two shows was Raw 30 was much better. I think it was where it was like a nice mix of you have both wrestling and nostalgia rather than it was 100% like such returns,
It makes me believe that, and of course, one of the things we talked about in a previous episode was that Vince is back. He's now he's now back on the board. Stephanie left, which I think that whole thing was a work.
Really?
I think that whole thing was. I think they basically told Vince, you're going to take some time off to deal with your personal issues, and Stephanie's going to come in, and then we'll just bring you back, and Stephanie will like get her her future endeavors papers, and basically say, I'm going to go focus more with my family, which is like, okay.
So you don't think Stephanie's actually left?
Not entirely, but I do believe that Triple H is still in charge of creative.
Okay.
I think he's still in charge of creative.
It makes sense because with Vince returning, it hasn't returned to Vince quality.
No,
at least just yet.
No. I mean, that was the one thing we were like
dreading,
worried about was that Vince would come back and it would be the same old garbage that we've had in the past, where and I think that someone pulled Vince aside and basically said, "Hey, this is working. You need to just let us be and let us keep doing this." Which is a good thing because a lot of the stuff that Vince was doing as far as creatively was
crap.
It was really bad.
I still remember a few years ago. I think it was after Dean Ambrose had left after his.
Yep.
Was that stupid storyline where it was like he was coming out with that aviator jacket and the gas mask and the siren horn, says, "Audience thinks you give me germs," or whatever he was doing. And then they had that stupid segment where it's like, "I gotta get a rabies shot to protect myself," which doesn't make any sense because
zero sense. Yeah. But
and then he was talking about because this is all Vince's stupid ideas. Even to quote, it's like Vince says, "This is such good shit."
Yeah. I mean, even Triple H came out when he was there, part of DX. He goes, "Hey, this booking stuff is hard." So, but I think Triple H, he pretty much learned everything when he was running NXT, and so to go up to Raw and SmackDown, despite what is going on with Vince, and I think, to tell you the truth, I don't think this is a good look for the WWE to have Vince back.
No,
I really don't
at all. Because it's just going to be like, it's just going to get out that WWE doesn't take sexual assault allegations seriously.
Yeah.
Or if you're part of WWE and you get accused of sexual assault,
yeah.
you're not going to lose your job. They're just
Right.
going to let you go until it dies down, and then come back.
Come on back. I mean, it is true that Vince owns the majority. He's the majority of WWE. People are saying it's proper that if he's the owner, he should be on the chair. He should be on the board. He should be the chairman. But I think that something is. I mean, I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping that somebody took him aside and says, "We bring you back. You cannot."
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? Maybe he's not in the back. Maybe that's like one of the conditions of him being there back on the board is that he can't be in the back at the shows.
So they didn't bring him back in any.
No, we didn't see Vince on Raw
real powerful capacity. I guess.
Let me ask you this though, because there was one thing that I kind of surprised us when we were like gearing up for Raw 30, and that is the big old sign that said Raw is XXX.
Yes. I remember seeing that, and I was quite confused. I was like, I knew this Raw was going to be a bit different, but not that different. You see, Raw is XXX, and it's like, boy, howdy, we're going back to the Attitude Era.
We're doing a live sex show again. I mean, it's just, we were like, what are they doing? I mean, this...
Don't get me wrong. I know XXX also means 30, but we all know it also means something else.
I don't know how in the world that got by everybody. I'm sure somebody in marketing was like, yeah, this worked. This looks great. I was like, do you not understand what this looks like? We're sitting there going...
This Monday we're getting a different kind of Raw.
I mean, it was just kind of, it was baffling. We were sitting there, we were laughing. We're like, oh my gosh, that is like the worst sign ever. But I think the idea, of course, was, obviously they couldn't put the big old 30 on there, the big old number 30, because it would have looked kind of awkward. But the XXX looked even kind of goofier, more awkward because it just screams out, porn. We're like, what kind of Raw are we gonna get? maybe, and who knows? Maybe that was Vince's idea, and he was thinking we'll get a lot of viewers coming in for this one.
It does sound like a Vince idea.
I mean, but anyway, overall it was a good show. Again, we only got to see
about half of it because we saw the version
Raw,
on Hulu.
Yeah, the Raw replay on Hulu. Which brings up, I mean, I don't know why in the world they wouldn't put the full show.
I don't know, especially considering it's not just your regular episode of Raw. This is a big deal,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
But even from what we saw, it was still really, really
It was really, really good. I think we just I think what they do is they cut out some of the mid-card.
Filler, the backstage
mid-card
segments,
stuff.
mid-card matches.
Yep. But it was overall a good show. Kind of looking forward to
Raw 40.
Raw XV.
Raw 35.
Raw 35 is coming up pretty soon. And who knows, maybe they'll wheel Vince McMahon out there in a wheelchair and just say, hey, welcome to Raw is 35. You might need my pills.